Hello, and welcome to Dave's Beginner's Guide on how to play as Yoshimitsu in Tekken 7. What you're looking at now is Yoshimitsu's basic skin. Yoshimitsu is a very complicated character, so what we're going to do is learn the very basics of movement and some of his more effective moves, the faster ones in particular, that will help you be able to juggle people, to build your own combos, and then hopefully by the end of this you'll be able to go into a fight and actually hold your own against someone of a beginner level. So we're going to be going versus Elisa here. We're going to be playing on Infinite Azure. So here we go. The basics for movement are as follows. If you double tap in any direction, you will do a small sort of dodge maneuver. By chaining this up, you can get some really good results and be able to get out of combat quite easy. And when holding down in any direction, you can use it to maneuver around a character like this. Also, if you don't do this and you just hold, say, backwards, you go really slow. And forwards is the same. So it's always advantageous to do the double tap instead. Also, with Yoshimitsu, if you use double back diagonal, he'll do a backflip. So we mix all of this up together and we're able to get out of combat a lot faster than we would if we just held backwards. So the first move we're going to be doing is double square. Double square, when it hits, forces the character into a crouching position. This is really good and really fast. So it allows you to get them crouched instantly and then you can just follow that up. The next move we're going to perform is back triangle triangle. This is a really good fast move as well. It's a high and mid poke. It pokes at the enemies and forces them onto the floor. You can also transition by back triangle square, which juggles the character into the air, leaving them helpless and allowing you to air juggle them. Next on the list, when you're facing from the left, is diagonal down and X, and when you keep pressing X, you'll do a spin kick, like so. The only problem with it is, if you do it too much, Yoshi will become dizzy and fall over, so you really have to get in about 5 hits and leave it, as on the 6th hit he falls over. Next move to get air juggling is diagonal down towards the character and triangle. This does a small little uppercut move that you can use to, again, air juggle characters. You can even combine that with Yoshi's kick, which is just circle, 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 which allows you to get a really nice air juggle combo. So this is the kick that I use to air juggle. This is done by pressing circle 3 times. Each time Yoshi will do an individual kick, but if you chain them together you get one continuous chain of kicks. Next move is diagonal up towards the enemy and X, which again does another juggle move. It's a very big knee to the face, and you can use that to again juggle with the triple circle kick. One of the next moves is Yoshi's swords, which is down triangle triangle. This allows you to do a rising mid swipe at the enemy. You can also transition by going down triangle square into another mid attack, which goes into high. It hits pretty fast and it's pretty good range. You can also follow that up by pressing down triangle triangle square, or down triangle triangle forward square, and it will go into a high striking move that will send the enemy flying. Next move is a striking move that's high. That's triangle square and forwards towards the enemy. This does a striking move which makes them fall flat on their face. Similar to Yoshi's spin kick, if you press backwards and just keep pressing square for about 5 times, Yoshi will do a spin punch instead of a spin kick. This is done by pressing down circle X. Yoshi will go into a pose that allows him to sit down and chant. When you sat down in this stance, if you transition into another move by just not pressing anything else apart from X, he'll do a corkscrew maneuver that flies straight at the enemy, which hits them from mid. If you press circle, he'll do a sweep kick that's quite low, and it's also really fast. And if you press square, he'll teleport above them and strike them in the face. Next is Yoshi's teleport kick. This can be achieved by pressing up, circle, and X at the same time. This is one that's really good for surprising enemies. This can only be done from a standing position though. This is Yoshi's double middle sword strike, and this is done by pressing backwards diagonal away from the enemy and square twice. The next move on the list is Yoshi's spin kick from standing, which is up and circle, which hits the character mid and sends them flying. This is Yoshi's evade. It's very similar to the spin punch and spin kick in that it does actually make you dizzy when you do it too much. Next is Yoshi's charge attack, which can get you out of some sticky situations. This is done by pressing forwards towards the enemy in circle and X. It leaves Yoshi in a state in which he's basically sat on the end of his sword. When you're in this state, if you press forward and X, you will actually go into a special throw, but it does take a long time for it to wind up. Next is Yoshimitsu's flip stomp. This is achieved by pressing circle and X and diagonal up towards the player. Just done normally, allows him to flip, hit them in the face, and then bounce backwards quite a distance very quickly. If you double tap square and X during this, he does a little drop kick as well, similar to the teleport kick. Next move is Yoshimitsu's mid kick. This can be done by starting a run by double pressing towards the character and then pressing X. It delivers a very strong middle blow. Next is a quick knee to the face, done by double tapping towards a character and then pressing circle. This, unfortunately, leaves Yoshi exposed with his back facing towards the character, but if you press X afterwards, this transitions into a backflip that will nail characters when they're on the floor. Yoshimitsu has a dash elbow that he can do by double tapping towards a character and pressing triangle. This allows Yoshi to get in a quick jab with his elbow, but if the timing is correct and you press triangle again for a follow-up, you can actually, if you're really lucky with the timing, go through the character in kind of a samurai slice. And lastly is Yoshi's rage art, which can be performed by pressing either R1 or backwards away from the enemy and triangle and square at the same time when Yoshi's glowing red. Now, after going through all these moves and figuring out different ways of combining them together, you can end up getting some really good fights. Here's just a preview of some of the ones that I had after recording the video.
Round 1. Fight. KO. Round 2. Fight.